Hello, YouTube. Happy Saturday. This is your weekly, or should be weekly, dose of Etsy news, everything that's going on in the world of Etsy. I missed last week because of the cold, and this is your fair warning. If you haven't guessed from my voice, I'm still a little revolting. So if you don't like hearing mouth noises, people sniffing or coughing or sneezing, these things are likely to happen today, so I totally get if you don't want to hang out with me today. If you find me revolting, I find me far more revolting. But I have some real time sensitive Etsy things that I wanted to share last week, but obviously I couldn't. So I want to share this week because they're really important. Some big news, and it's not just the POD thing. There's some other things that, again, fair warning, might make you a little bit angry. There might be some rants here, who knows. Let's get into this before my voice gives up. So firstly, quick little things, if anyone's selling to the EU, but everywhere, especially America's doing this, the UK's jumping on board as well, but in the EU, there is now coming up a ban on the selling of glitter, plastic particles smaller than 5 millimeters, that are insoluble and resist degradation. If you sell anything with glitter, you want to look into it. There's different laws, different time periods. Like if things are locked in, like varnished into an item, that's going to be different. Cosmetics are being phased out over time. So you just want to look into this. I mean, obviously, I think none of us are wanting poor little fishies to be eating glitter. So this is a good thing, but if you sell items with glitter, make sure that you're up to date on all the regulations. Obviously, I don't want to go too much into all the laws and things, so have a look depending on where you sell, but it's always good to try and keep ahead of the curve for things like that so you're not surprised. You don't get a nasty surprise. Okay, so for those who missed it, Etsy News, blog article, and on your listings, everywhere, Etsy is promoting that you'll get your money back if gifts aren't delivered on time. So if you've missed this, if you've been having angry customers, this might be the reason why. So what they're saying is gifts delivered on time or your money back. One of the most essential parts of online holiday shopping is feeling confident that your item will arrive when you expect it. So, as part of Etsy's purchase protection program, if you haven't looked into that, it came last year. But shoppers will get their gifts by their estimated delivery date or get a refund. Right, so they have expanded the purchase protection program for items up to $500. Now, it was just $250. I think that's just for the Christmas season. But the estimated delivery dates Etsy is making up based on what service we're saying we're using to ship items. And there's no option, I believe now in the UK, we used to be able to say using other. There's no option to use an other shipping carrier or anything. You've just got to pick the one that most suits what your item's going to be. And last year was an absolute nightmare with Etsy looking on like the Royal Mail site and going, oh, first class, that should get there in a day. Yeah, not at Christmas when the strike's going on. So I think they're saying something like less than a week for overseas shipping. No, everything's going to turn up late. So the only thing I can say to protect yourself is, because Etsy is going to refund the customers, and if your listing isn't eligible for the purchase protection program, they just take the money directly out of your account, which is very, very not cool. I think we can all agree on that. So we have to either put aside enough money to cope with this, which is going to be very difficult, or make sure your item's eligible for the purchase protection program, which means you have to ship it on time with a valid tracking number or use Etsy shipping labels. I think we all know I'm not happy that Etsy have bullied people into using Etsy shipping labels. And what I really hate is they're using this in the investors' reports. A couple of times they've mentioned, oh, a big high percent of sellers are now using Etsy shipping labels. Yeah, you bullied us into doing it. Please, can we have a little more carrot and a lot less stick? But anyway, look into the purchase protection program. Make sure you're covered, because this could end up costing you a lot of money. I think last year, something like 60% of my orders were refunded by Etsy because of the postal strike. And the customers all got their items. I think the vast majority of my customers got their items before Christmas, which was what I'd promised. But Etsy told them that they should be getting them earlier, which was impossible. Anyway, right, here's one that got me a little bit angry. The cyber sale. I think we all know how I feel about sales. Now, Etsy ran 2 sales last month that we didn't know were coming. They just came out of nowhere. And I know a lot of people like them. I'm not going to diss on them too much. Did it make a whole lot of difference to people's sales? Not many. It didn't bring more people into Etsy. I'll show you how I know that shortly. But basically, we had 2 sales, and then Etsy's promoting a month-long cyber sale, which is actually already started. Now, I was concerned about the laws regarding this, because I'm seeing a lot of people going, because Etsy's saying run a month-long sale at 25% off, and people are saying, oh, we can't do that. I'm going to have to put up my prices to be able to do the sale. Check the laws in your country, but UK, US, and EU have very similar laws. Which is basically the retailer must have been selling the item at the original price for a meaningful period of time. That's legalese, it doesn't say the exact period of time, but I think I got this from which is a UK site, but every other site in the US and the EU talk about the same thing. That usually this means that the discounted price, your sale price, must be available for the same period of time or less than the product was sold at a higher price. So if you're going to run this month-long cyber sale, then your item has to have been at full price for a month or more before it, so you can't put the prices up to cover the sale. And the thing that really concerned me is, and I asked Etsy about this, if you put up your items a month ago, but then Etsy's given us 2 sales already, does that count for your item not being at its full price because it was like a 5% off everything in the shop rather than a discount? Hope you get what I mean. Does this count as our prices not being at full price? And yeah, I went into Etsy support and they were freaking rude. That literally, the answers I was getting was, oh, well, Etsy always follows the law, which we know they've made missteps. I don't say they break the law, but they're doing all this internationally and they don't necessarily understand the EU laws before they make changes, because they did that with our shop policies, with our shops, removing our address. I mean, I hate the fact that we're supposed to have our address available for buyers to be able to see. It's a protection for buyers, but you've just doxed all the sellers. Everyone knows where everyone lives, which is dodgy. But anyway, Etsy made a change. A lot of people messaged Etsy, and Etsy says, no, you're rubbish. You're misreading the laws. You're misinterpreting the laws. And then 2 days later rolled back the change. That's my understanding of it. But yes, so with this Cyber Week thing, they were telling me, yeah, it's totally fine. Etsy always follows the rules. And literally, she posted some links to help articles and the policies, just saying, you've got to follow the rules in your land, which, I've already read these things. And then basically, she said, read these links. I said, the links don't talk about sale practices. And basically, she just cut me out of chat. What was it? I recommend you check the information You're welcome to reach out to us at any time, but at this time I have to leave chat since I have to help out other sellers. It's like, oh my God. It's like, stop talking to me. So yeah, chat just basically went, no, I'm not going to talk to you anymore, and cut me off. Hilarious. But I'm going to say be very careful. Definitely 100%. You should not be saying, I want to get into the cyber sale. Here's a listing I've just created, or here's a listing I'm just wanting to increase the price so I can do the 25% off. Your listing is likely to have to have been available at the higher price for at least a month if you want to run a month-long sale. Now, I will also point out, you will not get penalised by Etsy if you don't run a sale. You won't be dropped down in the search or whatever else. It just means, Etsy just sent out an email this morning going, 25% off. They'll advertise certain shops. I think there was about 4 of them in the email, 4 listings. Out of the millions of listings in Etsy that are taking part in the cyber sale, Etsy will promote a handful. It's very unlikely that your shop will get shown for the cyber sale. So hold a cyber sale of the amount and over the time period that works for you and your buyers. Personally, I'm not holding one, but do what works for you. Don't follow Etsy's suggestions thinking it will help you. That sale is for Etsy, so Etsy is able to advertise and say some listings are at 25% off. It's not necessarily going to help you if it doesn't work for you. There was a little test. I think people are happier with this. So in your listing photos, the final photo, rather than links to similar items and stuff, it was linking back to your shop homepage, which I think is kind of a whole lot. Excuse me, I've got a throat sweet so I can actually breathe and talk just now. Sorry, that's disgusting. But anyway, so your final picture, they were adding, in addition, not taking away your final picture. I only have 5 images up on this listing, but the final one was going to be a black box with a little shop thing that takes you back to your shop homepage. Yeah, it's better than taking you to somewhere else. It could be a little handy if buyers get used to that. It sort of might be a little bit annoying because, in my opinion, we don't want, if someone's gone through all your pictures, gets to the final one, they're really into your listing. So we probably don't want to be directing people away from the listing at that point. We're like, buy this thing. But if they weren't entirely sure, then going to your shop is better than going to somebody else's shop. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I don't know if it's going to, it seems to just be a test just now. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. Etsy is trying to help against scammers. There's been so many scam emails that people are catching out. Yeah, that looks like it's spelt wrong, but I think it's just the screenshot. They're blurry on my screen. But anyway, so in your Etsy messages, there's a new section for messages directly from Etsy staff. So you can filter by messages from Etsy. So if you get a message from someone calling themselves Etsy support saying you've got to enter your email, but you haven't got, when you click on to filter from Etsy, you don't see it there. It was not from Etsy. There's other ways to see if it's not from Etsy, but that's kind of cool. But it says, make sure to look out for an authentic Etsy badge. That means the normal circle for your profile picture, anyone can put an orange circle with an E in that, but for Etsy staff, that's going to be whatever. It could be the E, it could be a black E. I think some of them have a black circle. But what you're going to find is another circle overlapping outside the circle that's an orange circle with an E. That's an additional badge. And also you'll see at the side it will say Etsy staff. But now you'll also see it's from Etsy. So that's kind of good, a little layer, because scammers cannot get their hopefully cannot get their messages into that section. So if you're not sure if a message was from Etsy, filter by from Etsy. Okay, here's one of the big ones. Etsy print on demand. The past 2 weeks, as I say, I wanted to speak about this last week. I was revolting last week. Nobody wanted to listen to me last week. I still have this smexy voice just now. But yeah, print on demand listings are getting taken down at a massive rate, and people have been scrambling. I just had an email from Julie, thank you very much, and she's got a theory as well. There's lots of theories going about. Firstly, people were concerned that you can't use mock-ups in print on demand items. I don't think that is the case. But Etsy has clearly brought out a new system, and this is in their policies saying, what have we got here? If an item is created with production assistance, the listing photo should be of the finished product or an image supplied by the production partner that accurately displays the item the buyer will be receiving. Sellers are responsible for ensuring the images properly represent their final items. Now, some people have been getting messages back from Etsy saying that mock-ups are okay so long as it represents the final item, which is basically you can buy a mock-up. Now, I'm not saying that this is okay. As we've seen, even getting into the right departments, Etsy legal and everything, we don't always get sort of the correct answer, or people give different answers. But the main thing that I'm seeing here is Etsy don't want people to buy just a beautiful looking mock-up of a random t-shirt that in no way is like the t-shirt that the customer's going to get, and then they Photoshop their design onto the t-shirt. Etsy want people to get an idea of what they're going to get, which totally makes sense. Now, legal are saying it's okay to do mock-ups just so long as they represent the item. So it's like it's a mock-up photo of the actual t-shirt, the type of t-shirt, so at least you get the shape of it and everything. Now, I totally understand this. I was actually, in the summer, I was surfing Temu, and if you haven't heard of Temu, I want to know about your ad blocker because it's everywhere. But I was looking at their dresses in Temu because it was amusing me, and basically they've got one photo of one girl in a summer-shaped dress, and quite clearly in Photoshop type thing, they've cut out the entire shape of the dress and they just paste the patterns onto it. So it's constantly this exact same shape of dress with no idea what the fabric and everything is like. But what made me laugh the most is, now, for us ladies here, gotta love a dress with pockets. So to demonstrate that a dress had pockets, rather than have a different mock-up or something, all they did was cut off the model's hands, basically. So you've got the exact same photoshopped image, doesn't change at all. They just cut off the hands and go, whoa, look, she's got a pocket. That gives you no idea of the type of item you're going to get. How does it sit? What's the fabric like? And importantly, how is the printing on it? This is something that a lot of print-on-demand people don't think of. You make up your designs, you put them into the print-on-demand company, and you just assume what you've done on the screen is going to be what's going to show up. But different colours print differently depending on what colour settings you have in your computer and in the software. That might be printed out completely differently. Lines and things print, like if you've got lots of intricate lines, or on the difference if they're on a dark background or a light background, details may be lost or not what you expect. So and I say to print-on-demand people, you should be kind of wary of this already. I know some people do get some samples printed up. I know this makes things more expensive and more difficult, but you know what your customer's getting then. I mean, some print-on-demand t-shirts are horrible quality. Some are amazing quality. Some printing processes are crispy and disgusting. Some are beautiful. So it's a good idea to check that. And look, I get both sides of this. People were freaking out and thinking you couldn't use mock-ups at all. I don't think that's the case, but I'm not giving you that advice. But people were freaking out and saying, well, that's not fair. That means I'd have to take my own photographs and I don't know how to photograph. And I get, if you're doing print on demand, you've kind of been sold a pup. You've been sold, here is this low effort, high volume way to sell things, and suddenly stuff's changing. But everyone in the who's actually been hand making their items are like, oh, poor you, you've got to learn to photograph. I get it. You've started your business and it's possible the parameters are changing. But there's been a lot of anger in the forums and everything, because the people who are hand making physical items or vintage or supplies and saying, yeah, well, we've had to take our pictures for years. Come on now. But I get, if you've built your business on this, you followed what you thought the rules were, and the rules are changing. Now, the rules haven't changed. The rules have always said sellers are responsible for ensuring their items properly represent their final items. But it seems Etsy's brought out some kind of new system, and I can't blame them. I've never been a big fan of mock-ups. I get why they're done, but it doesn't give you an idea of how good the product's going to be. But now, guys, let me know if you do print on demand, if your items have been taken down, if you've got any theories or whatever. We'll pull everything together, because the other thing, yeah, totally tangents. My head's mushed just now. Totally tangents, but it looks awful. People are saying my stuff's been taken down. Here is why I think it's been taken down. And we have to bear in mind that a big chunk of people who've got their items taken down are not because of this at all. They think they are because they don't think they're doing anything wrong. Literally this morning, I saw on Facebook someone was complaining and saying their items were taken down. It's not fair. It was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirt. That's not been taken down for what your mock-ups are like. That's been taken down because you can't sell that kind of thing. So a lot of people don't even realise they can't sell what they're selling. But a lot of people who are allowed to sell what they're selling are getting listings taken down. So let me know what print on demand company you're using, if you're using mock-ups, all this kind of thing. The other thing, Julie messaged me, thank you very much. What she's noticed, I think it's in Printify, there is, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, what she is saying, in Printful, about a month ago, they started using descriptions. What am I seeing now? Yeah, instead of who made this item, when they're integrating with Etsy, instead of saying I made this item, it's sending a note saying that it's made by another company. So it's just changed slightly how it's saying where this item, who handmade this item. Excuse me. So that could be flagging it. I don't know. But Julie, thank you for getting in touch. So let me know what print on demand company you're using. This might be to do with the change of Printify. But hopefully we can get to the bottom of this. I was going to say before the rush for Christmas, but we're nearly in November. And I think with that, yes, finally things are getting better. This is from eRank, the Sites tab. This is for Etsy.com in the US. The reach is the percent of US people on the internet who are going to Etsy. And as we can see, at the end of the summer, now this always happens, but at the end of the summer, the reach absolutely crashed. That's why things have been so quiet. You can see with Etsy's 2 sales, didn't stop the slump, but in the past few days, finally, it started to level out a couple of weeks ago, and finally we are getting an increase in reach. Etsy is picking up a bit. You might not be feeling it in your shop yet. Mine's doing a little bit better, but customers are starting to come in. So this is the start of the selling period. This time changes from year to year, but it looks like we're getting back there. Still, if you look at that, it's very low compared to the summer, and summer is pretty slow compared to usual Christmases. So, but hopefully things are looking a bit better. And that is it. Thank you all for bearing with me. I hope I wasn't too revolting. Let me know in the comments what you think of any of these things, specifically the Etsy sale. Make sure you're legal there. And all my print on design people, print on demand, not print on design, all my print on demand people, let me know what's going on with you. Hopefully we can all get things sorted out. And if I've missed anything, because I'm certainly sure I have, being curled up in my sick bed for 2 weeks. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And I will hopefully see you next week.